Hey folks, it's David Brannen here. Got a little friend with me this time. I'm home. I'm babysitting, dog sitting today with this new little puppy we have. And he's pretty upset because the normal people who are looking after him are not home, that being my wife and daughter. So I told him he can hang with me and you guys for an hour here until everyone else gets back. Right, buddy? This is Finnegan. He's a brand new puppy. He's not that old. He's a few months old, probably 8 months? 6 months? I don't even know. I probably should know how old he is, but anyway, folks, welcome. Let's get this thing set up today. Let me find my comments. So if you want to leave a comment, just please put it in the comment section on YouTube and I'll see them and I can answer questions. Today's topic, we're going to be covering mistake number 5 from my book on long-term disability. I don't have a copy here right in front of me, but you guys have seen my copies of the book before. I'll also put it up on the screen here in a bit. Mistake number 5 is whether you should apply for both workers' compensation and long-term disability. Now, this is a very near and dear to my heart. I have seen this go wrong so many ways that I included in the book, and I want to talk to you about it today. So this topic comes up when someone is injured at work, but they or their employer choose that they will apply for long-term disability benefits rather than applying for workers' compensation or for applying for both of them. Now, at the time you're faced with this, it may seem like an either or option in the moment that it's something you can kind of choose to do, but it will blow up in your face. Certainly it will if you have a serious long-term disability. And I'll explain today why I've included that as mistake number 5 in the book, that mistake being not applying for workers' compensation when you should and only applying for long-term disability. I'll explain why that is a mistake. And I have a very bad example of someone I worked with who you will want to avoid what happened to him. All right, let's dive into this. So many workers think they must choose to apply for long-term disability or workers' comp. They think it's a choice, but really it's not a choice. If you've been injured at work, you can potentially qualify for both workers' compensation and long-term disability. Skipping applying for workers' compensation is a major problem that people run into. And let's go through an example here. So for example, number 1, let's think of Mike, that's not his real name, but this is someone I helped, that I work with, try to help him unsort this mess. Oh, can't lick that, bud. And Mike worked in a warehouse and hurt his back while lifting boxes. And he reported the injury to his supervisor, who did what many supervisors do, think they're doing the right thing, and said, dude, just apply for long-term disability. Workers' comp's a nightmare. We've got the group insurance, and you'll get it faster, easier. Just go ahead and do that. So Mike followed the advice. He filled out the short-term disability forms and left out the part about this being an injury that happened at work. Now, he didn't outright lie, but he didn't. In some ways, it is a bit of a lie because he didn't fill in the parts where to indicate that it was a work-related injury. Now, Mike's short-term disability was approved, which it often is, and he eventually transitioned to long-term disability. Now, years later, and I wasn't involved at this point, years later, during a routine review of his case, the insurance company found medical records that referred back to this original injury as a workplace injury. Excuse me. They reviewed the policy and they figured out that Mike should have applied for workers' compensation. So because these policies allow them to estimate and deduct, workers' compensation, whether you've applied for it or not. That's what they did. So they estimated and deducted what he should have been paying for long-term disability benefits, and then sent him a bill for $216,000. Oh, excuse me. That's when I became involved trying to help Mike figure out a way to get around this $216,000 that he had received over the previous 6 years. Now, this puts you in a mess because you now have this overpayment that's owed to the insurance company. And when Mike tried to apply for workers' compensation at this point, it was too late. The deadline had passed and his appeal had been denied. So this is the worst case scenario. When you put yourself in a situation where you didn't apply for workers' comp when you should have, like Mike, he didn't give all the facts, so he kind of fudged the truth on his application, and the facts eventually come out like they always do. The insurance company then applied the offset clause, and that allowed them to offset the money. So they were able to claw back, basically trying to claw back what he owed them. They turned around and ended up suing him for the money. So he was also dealing with a lawsuit from the insurance company, and he had missed the deadline to file for workers' comp because it's usually 6 months to a year, depending on your province. And there are some avenues where you can still apply after that. Now, the real life example of this is not quite this simple. It was a little more complicated, but anyway, this is essentially what happened. Now, in the real life example, Mike did get approved for the workers' compensation, but had taken the money and used it to buy a condo. So there's all kinds of messes in the real life situation that aren't there in this example. Okay, but I'll put you down for now. But anyway, you get the point. This is the kind of mess you can get yourself into, mostly because of taking advice that you don't have to apply for both when in fact you do. Now, the short-term disability, they never look into it too carefully, so you can often get approved for the short-term disability. But when it comes to the long-term disability, that's when this thing will get found out. And by that time, you're already a year or more into your case, and it becomes more difficult to apply for workers' comp because of how far out you are from when the workplace injury happened. So bottom line, you must apply for workers' comp if there is any chance that your disability claim could be based on a workplace injury. Oftentimes you'll apply and they'll just deny your case of workers' comp, and then you're fine. You can move on with your long-term disability claim and just tell the insurance, let the insurance company know that you've already you've made the application. So the offset clauses in your policy are what cause the problems for you, because it allows them to offset what you could have received, whether you have actually received it or not. Now, there are strict deadlines for applying for workers' compensation. That will usually be a year, 6 months, some provinces. Now, there is some flexibility there. So just you should always talk to a lawyer or person who understands workers' compensation, because there may be avenues for you to put in that application, even if it's late. All right. Now, the other thing is, too, you miss out with workers' compensation. It doesn't just pay lost wages. It also pays medical expenses and things like that. So there are benefits to getting workers' comp beyond just that, go beyond even long-term disability, which usually only focuses on just providing for lost wages. So how do you protect yourself in these situations? It's quite simple. You just always apply for workers' comp immediately. Be honest on all the forms. Keep detailed records and consult a lawyer if you think there is going to be any question. Okay, I think that's just a repeat. And if you have questions about this, you can always reach out to us for a free consultation or download my book. As I said, this is covered in the chapter in the book where I'm talking about the 11 mistakes. This is mistake number 5. Okay, so I'm going to move out of this, move into questions. Happy to take people's questions. We had a lot of questions yesterday. Don't know if we'll have the same number of questions here today, but please let me know if you do. I'll also be reviewing some of the questions on our Canada Disability Claim Forum. So just take a moment now and put your questions in the comments. I'm going to take a little break here to go let the puppy outside, and then I'll be back in a second. All right, let's take a look here at, let me share my screen, get over next to the mic here. So let me share my screen and let's go take a look at the, see what's going on with the forum here today. Here it is. All right, we got any new? Yeah, we got some new stuff in here. So this is a new question from 3 days ago. I recently received a refusal for my CPP disability application, and now I'm preparing for an appeal. I requested my ATIP notes and found one of the reasons for the denial was a referral to an ENT specialist and the assumption of possible future improvement. But here's the reality. I've been waiting for that ENT, ear, nose, and throat appointment for over 2 years. The referral wasn't even marked as a priority because my doctor doesn't believe it will lead to significant improvement. I feel like the adjuster was just looking for any excuse to deny my claim. That is probably correct. Has anyone faced something similar? I appreciate your insights. So Buckets replied, I think they're all over the map. Yes, 100% they are. Yeah. So, but this is the kind of thing they're looking for. They're looking for any evidence of future improvement. And if they find anything that could indicate future improvement, that does give them grounds to deny a claim, and they will often just rely on those grounds. Now, what you can do in these situations is have your doctor or the ENT was the referral. So it sounds like they haven't done the appointment yet. So I think what you would do here is, if this were me, I would get your family doctor to do a response that you could use as part of your appeal, where you would get them to say exactly what you're saying, that the referral to the ENT was for whatever reasons, but it is not expected to result in, it might result in some improvements with quality of life or whatever, but is not expected to get this person back to where they can return to work. So, but that is a thing you can address. Now the ATIP, I don't know what ATIP stands for, but what they're talking about is they got a copy of their Service Canada file and saw the notes within the Service Canada file. So I'm going to say that I have seen this. Okay, so have the family doctor discuss the purpose of the referral and what, if any, impact it could reasonably have on your capacity for work. Okay, I'm going to post that. Hopefully that helps them out. All right. I believe those dogs are up to no good out there. Cross my fingers they don't get loose or something. I've got the little guy that you saw, the new little puppy, and then I got an old dog. So the middle dog, the white one, who is the sweet one, she's gone to the vet to see about maybe needing a knee surgery, unfortunately. All right, let's look at some of these other things here. Retroactive payment, 5 days ago. Did I already answer this? Maybe I did. What can I do to keep my retroactive payment without them deducting my monthly regular payment? I thought that was for the months that I didn't receive payment. Must be talking about deduction from LTD. Yeah. Hmm. I was wondering the same thing. I hope for an LTD policy, they don't claw back CPP disability, or your company would have to buy more expensive. Okay, so Buckets is just explaining why this happens. So people wonder, like, why do they even get to claw back? Like, why is it even fair that an insurance company would be able to claw back in the first place? The reason is it's just what's been agreed to. So with these insurance policies, they're like a car. You can buy different models with different features. Some are more expensive, some are cheaper. So if you want to, you can buy a long-term disability group insurance policy that does not allow a CPP disability offset, but the premiums to pay for that policy would be much more expensive. And just excuse me one more time. I'm gonna go let my dogs back in. All right. Okay, since this seems to be the dog show here today, this is my old guy. This is Oliver. He's my baby. He's my old guy. And he's fed up with the puppy at this point, aren't you, Oliver? Oliver's like 9 years old, buddy. Is that what you are now? He's getting real old. So he's been good. He works with me pretty much every day in the office here. So whenever I'm doing work, only time I don't keep him around is when if I'm in court, court appearances. If I do court appearances by Zoom, I have to get him out of here because he could start coughing or barking or doing anything like that. So, but he's fine while we're just talking here. So that's basically why that answers. Buckets kind of answered the question here. This is why it happens, because it's unfortunately the policy that fortunately or whatever, like it's the policy that the employer chose for the group. And you got to think of it from their point of view. When they're presented with different options, option A will cost significantly less than option B. And the employer just says, I'll go with option A because it's a lot cheaper for everybody. Most people who don't ever have to apply for long-term disability would rather pay less for the premiums that are coming off their paycheck for their group benefits. So if your employer said to you, and you weren't having any issues with disability, said, okay, we can have this group plan, but you can have it costing this, or for $100 more, you can pay the premiums. For $100 more, you can pay the premiums, but if you get disabled, you get to keep both your CPP disability and your LTD. You'd be like, what? Who cares? I want the cheap one. That's what people would say usually, unfortunately. But that's how it is. Very rare to see a policy that doesn't have a CPP offset. I've only ever seen it one or two times, and it's usually with very sophisticated groups like union groups, private union groups, or things like that are very sophisticated, and they know enough to negotiate that type of thing within the policy. And there are people are willing to pay for it. Okay, let's see what else we have here. I think we've answered. Boy, I'm all caught up on all these questions. I don't even think I have any. So I got a few things over there. What is this one? Okay, it's too complicated to deal with here. Too complicated, unfortunately. I'll have to read that one on my own time and try to answer. Now, I will also check while we're here to see if there's anything new with the Canada Disability Benefit, because people are often wanting to know that. Nope, nothing new. Alrighty. Well, we'll have a quick show today. It's probably good for the better, so I have 2 dogs I have to look after here. I'm going to stop this screen share for now. And yeah, so I will be back tomorrow talking about employment law issues. Can't recall exactly what the topic is, but if you pay attention, you'll see I'll post it ahead of time, but it's going to be an employment law issue. Before I go, I'll just speak out my book here one more time. So this is the book I was referring to when I said we were covering the mistake number 5 today, which was not applying for workers' comp in addition to your long-term disability. That is definitely the mistake number 5 that you want to avoid. You can get a copy of this book by clicking on the links down in this video. And in the description of this video, you can go download a free PDF copy of this book. Once you do that, there'll be offers where you can just fill in your information, and we'll mail you out a copy of this in paperback as well. You can also buy this on Amazon.ca. This book is specifically, can't really see it in the fine print there. Let's see if I can blow this up a little bit. Let's see if I can make it bigger. Yeah, it's not really bigger, but the fine print here says that this is an essential guide for employees with group disability insurance. So this is really written for people who have group disability insurance through their workplace. That's most people. That's the disability benefits that most people have. So this is why it's a good book for the majority of people who have the group benefits. I have a different book that's written for people who have private individual disability insurance. So if that's your situation, you can reach out to us and I can get you that book as well. All right, that's all for today, folks. Thank you for tuning in. I will see you back here tomorrow. All the best.